Rachel Rose here, talking all things boxing. I'm here with Shane McGuigan at the press conference for the MVP card, where Caroline Dubois and Terry Harper are headlining. But we've got a couple of your girls on the card, haven't we? Two absolutely outstanding females in Ellie Scotney and Caroline Dubois. How are you feeling about everything?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Obviously, got a co-headline, which is great for both girls. That obviously they've both worked their whole entire career to get to this stage, so that they headline on Sky Sports, and they're obviously in the same gym, so we can't have a float in between, and we've got to basically go back to back on fights, which it's going to be challenging for myself. But if we've left it to this late, we've done something wrong in training. So we haven't left anything strategically this late, but it's just coordinating times on the night and making sure everyone has that ability to warm up and go in and do their best performance today.
Because for those who may not understand the rotations that happen and what goes on backstage, is you have the time before the fight. Yeah. Then the fighter will go out. So Ellie will go out and have her fight. You will be in the corner of that fight, but during that time,
it even goes back as far as like wrapping hands. So
exactly,
you've got 2 hours before the fight. An hour out, you've got to start wrapping hands. So an hour out, I'll be looking to wrap Caroline's hands, but Ellie will be warming up at that stage, so I'll be needed for that. And obviously, I've wrapped both of the girls' hands. I've always done it that way, so I don't want to, not wrap their hands. So I'm going to have to wrap Caroline's hands probably slightly earlier. But only the guts of like 15-20 minutes. But still, it's slightly off kilter. And then obviously when I go out to the fight with Ellie, Caroline will be left in the change rooms on her own, but she'll have her brother and her sister around her, and she'll also have Josh Pritchard, who's my assistant, who works with me. He's like an assistant coach. He's got fighters, and if I'm not there in a training day, he'll look after the fighters. So very familiar face, but that will then leave a void in Ellie Scotney's corner. So we're just juggling.
Yeah, it's a dance. It's a dance. And I think people don't actually understand from a coach's perspective how much energy goes into making sure that the fighter has everything they need in the rhythms they need it and everything like that. So the fact you've got 2 back-to-back is quite something.
Yeah.
What would you say the formula, because these 2 women are outstanding. They're unbelievable fighters. What do you think that the formula is that runs through both of them that you would say that's what adds to them being a champion?
I think mindset. Obviously athleticism. Everyone needs to be a good athlete to get to the top end of the sport and that elite status and becoming a world champion. But it's the mindset of a fighter that, I've worked with some phenomenally talented kids that never really reach their ability, and others that are not quite as talented that overachieve. And it's all down to the mind and how they channel themselves. And most fights at the top end that are 50-50 or even 60-40 fights, they're lost and won within the last 48 hours, because everyone's going to train hard, everyone's going to push themselves in training. It's part of the job. Everyone's going to diet down, they're all going to look good on the scales, they're all going to be strong relatively to their weight, but it's how they deal with pressure, and it's how they how it's that little inner voice that can give them reassurance the night before a weigh-in, the night before a fight, 30 minutes before the fight, how they calm that nerves. And then also the belief, do they really believe in themselves? And you find that out in tough fights, and it's the most humbling place in the world to be in a professional boxing ring, never mind against another world champion. So that will be it.
It's been interesting to see. So I've known Caroline now for the last year. I did some. She did like an interview Q&A thing, and I was asked to go in and do some questions with her. And watching her really step into her confidence in the last 6 months, like she's always been a great talker, but I think she's been quieter, and now she's sort of relaxed into herself, which is lovely to see. Yeah. What would you say the turning point has been for her? Do you think it's the move to MVP? Do you think it's just growth? Do you think it's time?
I think it's actually, to be honest, I think it's another British opponent, someone that can talk for themselves, another world champion. Because if you're thinking about, if it had been a Beatrice Ferreira, for instance, Eddie Hearn would have been doing the talking.
Yeah, true.
And this girl actually talks to herself, and that's something for Caroline to get her teeth stuck into. She's always loved the drama of professional boxing and the build-ups. Do you know what I mean? So If you're in against Ellie's in against the Mexican, that's obviously believes that she can win, but we have to go through a translator, so that just slows down that process of the back and forth, and it kind of takes away a little bit of needle. There's going to be plenty of needle on the night because they're both going to want to win, but in terms of the build-up, it's kind of like if you have someone from this side of the world and that's a world champion that has something to say for themselves, that's where you're going to get some fun back and forth.
Yeah, I feel like it's brought the best out in Caroline, but it's also brought some spite out in Terry, which has made for a really nice, fiery kind of
great build up.
Yeah,
for sure.
A really, really great build up. And I think that's what's really added to this fight as well. I think there's so much that's happening at the moment around women's boxing that it's not a separate sport from male boxing. It is the same sport. It is just different genders.
And I think Amanda Serrano is just an incredibly lovely person, and Katie Taylor is one of the most pure souls in sport. They're never going to really trash talk one another. And if you look at Katie Taylor when she was fighting Chantel was playing the villain, and then she sort of wrote, she stood up for herself. But you can't be super nicey all the time. You've got to show some character. You've got to show some backbone. And Caroline has played that role in this one. And I think, as you said, it's brought some words from Terry out. And at the end of the day, it's a very humbling process, because one of them is going to have to walk home the loser, and that sometimes can be actually a really devastating loss as well. So it's credit to both of them for being so outspoken.
Do you think sometimes people fear being outspoken because of that?
The repercussion? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's of course, it's like they don't want to fall flat on their face, but those are the ones that don't really believe in themselves.
Yeah, they're the ones with the question marks over the top of their head. Because I think also, like, if you genuinely believe it and you say that it can happen, and you go out there trying to do anything that you can to make it happen, regardless of win, lose or draw, you've doubled down. So I feel like saying it is fine as long as you go in and try and achieve it.
Yes, definitely.
Shane, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. You have a busy couple of days ahead. It's been wonderful to talk to you. I'm a huge fan of the stable, and literally watched the program, The Stable, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And so good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it.
I'll be there and cheering on the girls, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.